100%.
Yeah, because I think I need a warm body next to me. Because guys, welcome to the show. I'm curious, and I want to know. We're talking about cuddling, okay? And are you guys like? Because I see like movies and everything where the girls on the chest and they sleep and they wake up and it's still there and they wake up morning breath. Nobody gives a shit about the morning breath. Are you? I'm gonna ask all you about Amy. Are you? How big of a cuddle lover are you for like? Because some people like me personally, I'll like to cuddle on the chest immediately. 3 minutes in, I'd like to turn her around, kiss her back, and then I just kind of push. I swear to you, it's cute.
I am literally a koala bear. I'm such a koala bear. I like to be latched on. I can like respect like if you're like a hot sleeper or something, and like you don't want to do it the whole night, but like at least until I fall asleep.
What if I was with a girl, I just left my hand kind of on her,
just a little,
and she just kept getting closer, and I kept mushing her away. Humberto, where are you at? That's good to know though.
I'm a big advocate. I don't know this whole thing about sleeping in the same bed with your wife or significant
other.
other.
Oh my gosh,
I think we should have separate beds, separate beds,
yes,
beds, or separate rooms.
Yeah,
like if someone attempts to touch me when I'm about to sleep, I'd rather sleep outside. All right?
He's probably, Humberto's under the weather probably because she's sick and she was trying to cuddle with you.
Yeah.
That's what it's from. My grandmother and grandfather, they didn't even, not even in the same wing of their house. I'm like, where's the bed for her? My mom's like, it's all, you have to take a right. And then they hated each other. They don't want to be next to him. I love it. What about you, Connor?
Yeah, I mean, I'm married to a human space heater, so like, a minute of cuddling in bed and then 3 rolls to the end of the
got
bed.
you. So you're not a fan.
No. I mean, I'm a fan of being around my wife, but
not
when she sleeps, I start to get sweaty. So
got you.
I kick her to the other side.
Rob?
I actually sleep in a separate bed, so I'm with Humberto on that. I prefer it. It's better. Oh, yeah. I mean, it's not exactly the most convenient for intimacy issues, but my wife is the same thing as Connor's wife, a heater, and it just gets hot, and I don't like it, and then she tosses and she kicks, so I sleep much better. I'll either sleep on the couch or I'll sleep in one of the kids' beds.
Now, is that by your choice or hers?
Well, you're with Amy. You're a cuddler?
I'm a koala bear.
I need to be, I don't care if I'm sweating. I'm a cuddle koala attached starfish.
I would, listen, I like it. I'm just saying, like, when you want to sleep, you can't sleep with a fucking 8-pound human head just jammed on your...
not like that. No, you do like the side spoon, not the sprawling on top. You do the side spoon. You don't even need to put your arm under my neck so your arm dies. You can have your arm like by your side, regular laying on your side, and just the other arm scooping around.
I could do that. No taken. Okay.
And I'm not a furnace either.
How disappointing that the 2 single women are the ones who are desperate to cuddle and all the guys in relationships.
Thanks, Connor. Okay, we can start the show now.
All the married
let's
men want to sleep in a single
No, all right.
Let's start the show.
All right, that's it. No, me and Amy are getting
together.
married and having kids anyway. So, all right, moving on. Guys, we have a lot of stories today. That was 5 minutes on cuddling. That's hilarious. I'm actually curious. If you ran a poll, I want to know
right now.
I want to know if they would cuddle or not. If you guys are, I guarantee it's going to be no. Because we have a majority of guys. Anyway, guys, so today we're going to be talking about Humberto has a German attack. Where'd the German attack? Another one happened.
Last night.
Weird. That's so weird. We're going to talk about, Amy's going to talk about RFK and the Big Pharma ads and what's going on over there. Connor is going to be talking about the CIA with documents talking about the Ark of the Covenant.
Turns out the CIA may have done what Indiana Jones could only dream of doing.
Oh,
if you trust the CIA.
Oh, I mean, I can't.
Who's to say if we do?
Yeah, but anyway. All right, so guys, this kind of fresh in the news, especially with everything that's been happening with us, and we saw Tate and Tate come into the United States and all that stuff. So, if you guys have been following, Andrew Tate's girlfriend Bree Stern has accused him of assaulting her during sex in a Beverly Hills hotel on March 11th. She claims he choked her to the point where she nearly lost consciousness despite her pleas for him to stop. Afterwards, she documented the injuries, which included facial bruising, sought medical attention in New York, where she was diagnosed with post-concussive symptoms. He's faced, obviously, charges in Romania and all that stuff. Now, him and his team have obviously strongly denied the allegations. His legal team told TMZ, Andrew Tate vehemently rejects this outrageous allegation and will relentlessly pursue legal action against anyone involved in spreading blatant falsehoods. Kelly right now has her medical bill. Kels, did you show her face?
I did show her
Okay,
face.
beautiful. Thank you, my love. And then his team is pushing back hard against the accusations. They're calling the claims outrageous and say that they'll take legal action. Obviously, the falsehoods. They argued that the media is running with a one-sided story, ignoring the key facts regarding the photos of the bruising, while they claim these weren't even taken at the Beverly Hills Hotel or even at night, suggesting there's no evidence whatsoever. They mentioned that Bree spent multiple nights with Andrew and only became upset when he didn't fly her to New York on a private jet.
Oh, my.
That's, yeah. As for alleged text messages where Andrew's talking about beating her, his team questions the authenticity, pointing out that these ease of generating fake conversations with today's technology. They believe this narrative is just convenient clickbait that won't hold up in court. Kelly, you have some of these. Kelly, can you read some of these without obviously doing the cuss words? And again, guys, this is all here. Allegedly, these are what was posted on TMZ. We don't know the validity of the text. If they are true, it's kind of damning and not good. I don't care who you are. This is not the way to talk to a freaking female. Kelly, could you read a couple of them while you're showing it to the chat?
Yes.
Go ahead.
So it's you backtalk too much blank, so I beat you. I will hit you today, but I love you. Why the name calling? Do you understand? I'm scared. Don't care. Do you understand? Yes. Why the hitting? Do you belong to me or not? I do. Because I want to beat the blank out of you. You will give me a child this year blank. Why do you want to beat me? It's 12:30 and I'm in the room. I sleep soon. What's the point in having you? If I don't beat you and impregnate you, you should be thankful.
Holy shit.
If you ever betray me, you will regret it. Okay, crazy. No, I am serious. If you're mine, why wouldn't I be able to hit you? Okay. You scared me with what you said.
Damn.
I really love hitting you. It's very good for me. And you, it's relaxing, don't you think?
Okay.
Pookie, no, I cry.
Okay, okay. Read this last one, Kel.
You need to be hit. Why? I don't like it. What did I do? You deserve it.
That's okay. Go ahead, Connor. What were you gonna say?
No, like, again, we have no idea if this is true or not. Those are the most insanely worded text messages I've
ever.
I'm gonna hit you. No, Pookie, I'm crying. Who texts like that? Like, okay, I'm.
Well, Rob does text me
Yeah.
once in a while.
That's right,
and
I
he
do
goes,
call him
Pookie,
Pookie,
he goes,
so-
Pookie, don't hit me. And I go, Rob, shut up, you stupid.
I talk too much,
and then I
deserve
breathe.
it.
I go, you talk because you like it. Sorry.
But say it was real.
Oh, okay.
Say that those were actually their text exchange.
Okay.
What would your guys' reaction
Well, and
be?
here's my thing, because I want to go to Humberto, then I'm going to go to you, Rob, and I'll come to you. I mean, Humberto, Amy, and then Rob. If it is real, that is like, I personally think it's absolutely, dude, that's the whole thing. You know it's going to come. If it's real, why would you be texting that? Especially with everything that's happening. I don't think he'd be that dumb. I don't think. Amy, go
The
ahead.
other thing, I mean, what app is that with the little text message timer? Is that Signal? I know when
WhatsApp, maybe?
Did you guys see the little timer where it said 3 minutes until expiration? So the way that it works when you're using anything like that is it notifies the person when there's a screenshot.
Yes.
It didn't look like
Telegram.
that was a picture of a phone, like a picture of a picture. Do you know what
Yeah.
I mean? It looks like that was a direct screenshot, and so we would be able to see on there somewhere where it said that a screenshot was captured. So I'm suspicious on that front. I definitely don't think that Andrew Tate would be foolish enough with all of the allegations, with only just getting his freedom to be able to travel internationally. Why would he throw all of that down the drain for this one exchange with this one girl?
That's a very good point. What's up, H?
I mean, we've seen his attitude. Would it surprise me that this is true? No. Could it be consensual and sexual? And that's fine. If she's into it, he's into it. Then again, text messages. Like, if they got into my text messages, holy crap. If they got into our text messages.
Forget it.
Forget about it.
Forget it.
Forget about it. We say things we don't mean on text messages just to fuck around.
Yeah.
I don't know.
What?
But beating women is never good.
Beating women is never good.
Unless
This is
it's consensual.
disturbing for men. I mean, even if it's consensual, that's sick. You're encouraging a sick kink, and if that is the case, then she is like in some way, I guess it's like implied consent when he's telling her repetitively over and over and over again, I'm going to hit you. I'm going to hit you. I'm going to hit you. And then what? She gets hit and she's surprised and files a police report.
But what's
I mean,
interesting
what?
is, okay, so let's look at the actual evidence that we know for a fact exists, right? We don't know whether or not those text messages are valid and were sent from Andrew.
We don't.
yet,
We actually don't.
What we do know is that this woman went to the hospital. The date that she went to the hospital, because Kelly, if you could pull up the hospital report again, where she's diagnosed with
there it is.
post-concussion syndrome, that was done in Greenwich Village in New York, New York. That was done on the 15th of March. However, according to this young lady, the assault took place on March 11th, 4 days earlier, at the Beverly Hills Hotel in Beverly Hills, California. If you're assaulted in a hotel room in California, why are you waiting 4 days and traveling all the way across the country before you file a police report or go and see a doctor?
Well, she said that's when she felt safe because that's when the brothers left to go back to their court date in Romania. That's what the reports say on TMZ.
This is listen. Again, nobody's gonna know. None of us are actually gonna know because I know. No, you never. Yeah, they're gonna know. They're gonna know.
How are they gonna know?
How are they gonna know?
How are they
They're
gonna know?
It's just like, but to be honest with you guys, he is, and I feel bad. He is screwed for the rest of his life if he ever wants to talk to a new girl, because this could happen at any moment. When I was in the military, I was leaving. I was getting deployed, and I told a girl that I was breaking. Like I go, listen, this isn't gonna work. She had her friend punch her in the face. No joke. Punch her in the face. I think it was like with a orange, or I don't know what the hell it was. I'm in the gym and my sergeant walks in and goes, just tell me it's not true. And I'm like, what? What? He's like, just tell me you didn't do it. I'm like, what? Have you ever been accused of something that you have no idea what the hell's going on? And I'm like, I go, what? He goes, come here. And then they're like, oh, this girl said this. And she brought her mother. She thinks that because you're military and you're a trained killer, that you might come and kill us in the bushes. And I was like, all this is happening, and the military eats their own. They love that stuff. I go, time out. I go, not one more word. I go, do you believe her? I go, do you believe it? Dude, it's so bad when you're innocent because you sound guilty. Nobody wants to believe the dude. And they go, well, we don't. I go, listen, go get a lie detector test. Right? I don't give a damn. We waited hours for them to bring a lie detector test. And I go, if I pass this, I never want any, don't ever talk to me like you guys are. I go, okay, go, bring it. And I pass. So, very, very weird situation. By the way, and while we're here, I got a freaking message from Adam.
Me too.
You did? You are mine. I will beat you and you will like it. I will impregnate you this year. Are we clear?
What did you say back?
What did you say?
Oh, I said, yes, daddy, exclamation mark.
I said, Pookie, why? Like, why are we...
Robert and Vinnie, you're both mine.
Oh my God, speaking of the devil, he's there.
No, women, bitches be cray. Like, for
Yes.
I've witnessed this once firsthand. A woman who was at a company convention. I'd only ever worked with her online. This is when I was involved in the sales and fintech industry. And everybody in the company came together for this big event. She was dating a guy. They got into a massive fight. And she said to me, I nearly screamed RAPE so quickly.
What?
My jaw freaking dropped, and obviously I never spoke to that person again. But I mean, that's crazy. She was about to just completely make up an allegation in order to try to
Ruin someone's life?
Yes.
Am I the only one that is taped out? Like I
was actually going to make that same point.
Can I be 100 with you?
Good for them.
Yeah.
I mean, they're successful, whatever. But man, I'm so done.
I'm
with
not
them.
gonna lie. I'm
sorry.
not gonna lie too. I'm kind of like, but I mean, think about it. They came to the United States. Okay, we knew that was gonna happen. The buzz was gonna happen. But it's like, I'm tated out too. But it's like I said, I feel bad for Andrew because this is never, dude. They're never now. Every time you're gonna meet a girl or hang out with a girl, you're gonna have them sign something that says if we do get crazy, you can't report it. Which not a lot of girls are gonna be like, yeah, but a lot. I don't know, man.
Wow, it's almost like when you build a business running an online prostitution ring and go in front of a camera multiple times talking about how men should have ownership of women to do with them whatever they want. People don't give you the benefit of the doubt when you're accused of rape and sex trafficking. Go figure.
Go figure.
That's not to say that Andrew Tate is guilty of any of the things he's been accused of. I don't know enough of the details of those cases to say one way or the other. I know for a fact it's not why he's being prosecuted in a lot of these cases because they disagree with his messaging and the following he has. but this isn't some saintly, virtuous guy that, you know, is being unfairly attacked. This is a guy who spent his life opening himself up to these kinds of criticisms with his own behavior. So I'm very skeptical of the text messages, but do I know if Andrew Tate beats women? I have no idea. I know he doesn't think very highly of them, so it could track. So like I said, and like you said, Vinny, it's all allegations.
It
this
shouldn't.
is, but
I don't think it should. What Connor said is right. They have their own reputation. These women get involved, and they have this exchange where there's an understanding. In public, you know, Adam, Nat, Bree, they all went to dinner. They all had a lot of girls around them. Everybody was fine. Everybody was polite. Everybody was hanging out. You know, they're one way in public, and then these things that are private between other people come to the surface in these kinds of reports. I don't know why, but, like, I expect this, you know, from with like what they do. So if they're but that's private, that's them, that's separate, a different understanding than maybe what we're seeing.
And I'll let you close it, Humberto, but you know how you remedy this entire situation? Find one girl, fall in love with her, be like, I don't know what trauma he's gone through with his life, but this is, bro, he's hurt, like something's off. Like, find one girl, find a freaking girl. I know it's not easy. Find a good girl, fall in love, get married. None of this has to happen. You know why? Because you're not going to be bouncing around from randos, and lottery's going to strike with an unlucky one where you're like, oh no, she's claiming this. I'm about to go ahead because I want to jump on.
No. I mean, I don't want to take credit away from them. I think what they did for, you know, the male, you know, especially
movement?
I mean, especially younger males in the absence of a father. I think what they did for, you know, masculinity in general was super important. But as a grown man that has a father, you know, that lives, you know, like maybe like 50 miles away from me or like 40 miles away from me, like I don't need them, but I have to give them credit that when things were very difficult with feminism, they did change the conversation.
Yes,
so
that
I can give them credit there. I don't believe TMC. I don't believe what they say. Everything needs to be seen in a court of law.
Yep, I agree. All right, guys. Well, that's it. We'll wait and see. So moving on, Rob.
Yes.
The signal leak scandal with Pete Hegseth. Talk to us.
Well, I have not seen a story last an entire week in the news cycle since COVID. When was the last time? I actually think this has gotten more coverage than Trump's assassination.
Oh, 100%.
Isn't that odd?
100%.
That the former president of the United States gets shot in the face
during an election season,
and we barely even talk about it. But this signal conversation has gone on for at least a week now. There's a bunch of video. Are you guys aware of who Jeffrey Goldberg is? The author of the, I guess he's
the editor-in-chief
of the Atlantic. Yeah. And, you know, just from our brief dealings with editors-in-chiefs that we've had here, they don't do much. I can tell you. I love the guy that we had, but he was here for like 6 months, and then he was like, this is crazy.
They're just chiefing the editors.
Yeah, they just kind of watch the other people, and then they go, okay. Somehow this guy has been he's had it out for Trump for quite some time. But even before Trump was in his crosshairs, this guy was on mainstream media pushing the Iraq war lie that Saddam Hussein had weapons of mass destruction. He had propagated the Trump hoaxes that he didn't want to pay for the Mexican soldier's funeral because she was Mexican. The guy has had a history of reporting on Trump hoaxes. This guy gets added into the group chat. And Kelly, we can skip this clip because I don't really need to see him. I want to get to this clip right here.
Okay.
We showed this yesterday morning on the PBD podcast. But this is Mike Waltz, the National Security Director of National Security?
Director of National Security.
And he was the one that started the group chat that included Jeffrey Goldberg that ended up leading to this leak of the files. And Mike Waltz had a very interesting take on how Jeffrey Goldberg actually got added to his phone and then added to the Signal chat. Here's that clip.
Oh, great.
After success. So they want to focus on this. It's embarrassing, yes. We're going to get to the bottom of it. I just talked to Elon on the way here. We've got the best technical minds looking at how this happened. But I can tell you for 100%, I don't know this guy. I know him by his horrible reputation, and he really is the bottom scum of journalists. And I know him in the sense that he hates the president, but I don't text him. He wasn't on my phone, and we're going to figure out how this happened.
So you don't know what staffer is responsible for this right now?
Well, look, a staffer wasn't responsible, and look, I take full responsibility. I built the group. My job is to make sure everything's coordinated.
But how did the
execute?
I mean, I don't mean to be pedantic here, but how did the number?
Have you ever had somebody's contact that shows their name, and then you have somebody else's number there?
I never make those mistakes.
Right? You got somebody else's number on someone else's contact. So of course I didn't see this loser in the group. It looked like someone else. Now whether he did it deliberately or it happened in some other technical mean is something we're trying to figure out.
So Mike Waltz has no idea how Jeffrey Goldberg ends up in his phone. He is now claiming that Elon Musk is involved in actually tracking down how that actually happened. I don't use Signal. Does anybody here use Signal?
Yeah.
I've never have.
Is it possible, Humberto, that I know it's an encrypted app. Is it possible that someone could hack Signal, put someone in a group chat? This isn't what Mike Waltz is saying, but this is where I'm going. Is it possible that Signal can be hacked or your Signal account can be hacked so that someone could add someone that's not in your phone book? Because according to Mike Waltz, Jeffrey Goldberg's not in his phone. Is it even feasibly possible for someone to hack that app and put someone else's phone number in a contact that then you add to your Signal text thread?
Anything is possible. The thing is, it's not even the app. You know, they could have access to your phone at a root level, and they could put someone in there. I don't think it was a hack. I think it was a mistake, personally, because Signal is very secure. It has password for conversation. It's very secure. You used it a little bit for our trip.
Very, very, but I'm so in like even WhatsApp. We use WhatsApp to communicate. I am so technologically inept. I have no idea how to access any of this stuff. It took me hours to figure out how to set up WhatsApp. And I'm like, this is crazy. Okay, so it could possibly
anything can be hacked.
There's a bunch of clips that I'd like to play. Kelly, I think we can fast forward through these ones. The ones I really want to focus on is, these ones right here. If you could go back to Hakeem Jeffries. Hakeem Jeffries, this is very interesting. Here is Hakeem Jeffries talking about how both President Trump and Mike Waltz should be held accountable for the Signal scandal.
Ultimately, the buck stops with the President of the United States of America, which is why I made clear to President Trump yesterday in my correspondence that the Secretary of Defense should be fired immediately if he's not man enough to own up to his mistakes and resign in disgrace.
Congressman, what is your assessment of the withdrawal from Afghanistan?
First of all, our hearts break for the tragic loss of those 13 brave members of the military who gave their life in service to this country and paid the ultimate sacrifice. I think the decision to withdraw from Afghanistan was exactly the right one. Certainly, it's been a tumultuous few weeks, though it is important to note that more than 114,000 Americans and Afghan allies and women and vulnerable children have been evacuated over the last 2 weeks. That's an extraordinary accomplishment, thanks to our military and the administration. And that actually is an example of American exceptionalism as well. And that shouldn't get lost in the totality of what we have witnessed.
So in one clip, he's sitting here saying that the president should be held responsible for the lapse of security when it comes to the Signal scandal. But then when we look at the disastrous withdrawal of Afghanistan and U.S. troops from Afghanistan, nothing to see here.
Yeah, weird.
But what's interesting, Kelly, can we go to the next clip and then we'll come back to this clip? This is during a congressional testimony. I believe this happened on Tuesday of this week, where I forget this gentleman's name. I believe it's Jamie Gomez. I'm not 100%
Whatever,
certain
Mr. Gomez.
But this is where the conversation has gone from, okay, we need to hold somebody accountable and find out what happened, to just pure slander. The rhetoric of the left, I guess the narrative of this conversation is that it's Pete Hegseth's fault that this chat was started. Jeffrey Goldberg was included and the war plans were included in that group chat because Pete Hegseth was drunk. Here's the clip of Jamie Gomez asking if it's a possibility that Pete Hegseth was under the influence when the mission took place and he posted those war plans in Signal.
To your knowledge, do you know whether Pete Hegseth had been drinking before he leaked classified information.
Oh, wow.
I don't have any knowledge of Secretary Hegseth's personal habits.
Director Radcliffe, same question. Yes or no?
No, I'm going to answer that. I think that's an offensive line of questioning. The answer is no. I find it interesting that you want to. I'm going to answer. You asked me a question. You want an answer?
No, listen.
You don't want to focus on the good work that the CIA is doing, that the intelligence community.
Director, I reclaim my time. Director, I reclaim my time. Here.
I hate these here. I hate
huge respect for the CIA. Huge respect for our men and women in uniform. But this was a question that's on the top of minds of every American, right? He stood in front of a podium in Europe holding a drink. Right. So, of course, we want to know if his performance is compromised. If people were asking if the General Austin was compromised because of a heart issue.
Was his performance compromised because of a successful
I yield
strike?
Back. Mister, I bring my
You want to know?
You
want to talk about accepting responsibility? Do you think you should accept responsibility for a successful strike to make Americans safer? You want to focus on.
By the way, the photograph that they're talking about with Pete Hegseth drinking on stage in Europe has been proven to be a glass of water that Pete Hegseth was drinking from. But because the liquid was clear and it was in a clear glass, that gave insane people the idea that he was drinking vodka straight while speaking to the world stage in Europe.
Straight.
Yeah.
That's absolutely insane.
Tony, our booker, does, but he has problems.
I mean, Russians and like Tony the Booker.
Drinking vodka straight should disqualify a person from public office for the rest of their life. Because that is insane behavior.
And Rob, this is, and if you don't mind, Rob, this is when you're questioning about two things. Let me go back up. They care so much about this and they worry about Pete Hegseth. What about General Milley when he was literally saying, if we're going to invade China, I would give them a heads up, which is verbal treason, bro. That they don't give, dude. And that's the problem is now this side doesn't care, but this side doesn't care. Yes, if it's true, I want people held accountable, but the left never gave a damn when it was happening for the past 4 years. And this is Tucker saying that when he went to, was it Russia? Rob,
yes, when he went to the Kremlin to interview Putin.
And this is when him saying he was hacked. His signal was hacked. Go ahead, play this.
I'm not hiding anything, but I was definitely hiding my plan to go interview Putin just because it's an interview.
So how did that happen?
Business.
How do you know the NSA broke into your signal?
Because they admitted it.
Really? Like, can you tell us about that? Like, how did you find out?
I got a call from somebody in Washington who would know. Just trust me. So I went up there for another reason, but this person said, are you going to come to Washington anytime soon? This was a year and a half ago, and I was like, yeah, actually, I'm going to be up in a week. Meet me Sunday morning. So weird. Like, who does that? Just text me. You know what I mean? Just text me. No. So I go, and this person's like, and this is someone who would know. Are you planning a trip to go see Putin? This was the summer before the war started. And I was like, how would you know that? I haven't told anybody.
Wow.
I mean, anybody. Weird. Not my brother, not my wife, nobody. And just because, it's one of a million things you're working on. But that was one of them. I want to go interview. Why wouldn't I want to interview Putin?
Of course.
I want to interview Xi. I want to interview everybody, right? Yeah. That's kind of my job.
We want to get Kim Jong-un on here one day.
Of course. We met him.
You did?
Yep.
Oh, we got to talk about that after. But
super interesting. But anyway.
Holy shit.
How would you know that? Because NSA pulled your text with this other person you were texting.
Weird.
How did you know that?
Weird.
And so I was intimidated. I'm embarrassed to admit, but I was completely freaked out by it. I called a U.S. Senator who I know, not that well, but it seems like a trustworthy person. And I told him the story. I said, I just want to tell you this. And then I went on TV on Monday and I'm like, this happened.
Boom. Oh, you stop it.
And so they had.
So listen, and he gets into a little bit longer. It's a 2.5 minute clip. Anything's possible when it comes to hacking, Rob. Anything that's like from voting machines to signal that's supposed to be encrypted, it's who's in charge. And people need to understand, just because John Ratcliffe is running the CIA, just because Tulsi Gabbard's doing her thing, and just because Mike Waltz is doing his thing, there's still people embedded. The deep state is actually a real thing. So who knows? Because don't get me wrong, and we just talked about this. If it's really real, horrible F up. You look stupid as hell. If it's, in fact, because we know we make mistakes. You put somebody in a group chat. You ever send a text to the wrong, or you said something and the person's in the group, and you're like, oh my God. Are you trying to backtrack so I can see that? Go ahead, Rob.
So it's not just Jamie Gomez, I believe his name was.
Gomez?
That's now going with this rhetoric that Pete Hegseth may have been drunk. Here's another representative speaking to the media yesterday where he discusses Pete Hegseth's possible intoxication. And it basically comes down to, is Pete Hegseth incompetent or intoxicated? Here they are.
Accountability is back.
Yeah.
Accountability is back. I quote Secretary Pete Hegseth. That was our Secretary of Defense on the record just a couple of months ago. Now the debate among national security professionals is over whether the Secretary was just incompetent or whether he was drunk.
Just look at how they do
That's how low this has gone. And those are serious debates happening among national security professionals today. Because my colleagues are right. This put American lives at risk.
Look at Vinnie in the back.
This cheapens
Loser.
the work that our men and women on the front lines of our armed services and our intelligence agencies do every single day. Because it says the rules that apply to you don't apply to us.
Hypocrite.
As your leaders. There's a simple concept that I would have thought Pete Hegseth would have learned in the National Guard, which is leadership by example. Well, let me tell you, if any guardsman at any level, including the most junior private, had done what Pete Hegseth did, he would not only be fired, would not only lose his security clearance, but he would probably be criminally prosecuted. Let's just debunk a few myths here, because now the approach these leaders are taking is to lie. That's not in the leadership manual for our armed services, but that's what they're doing now. They're saying, oh, this information wasn't classified. Without even knowing the full details, we know that the time of attack for this operation was in the message. Let's be clear. That's classified information. That's all you need to know.
I have a question. Didn't Snowden, isn't he on the run, and Julian Assange on the run for leaking classified information?
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Why isn't Jeffrey Goldberg, who leaked classified information, he reported on it?
Yeah.
So it was an error. It was an accident. Okay, sorry, we fucked up and we won't do it again. But why is Jeffrey Goldberg, who reported on leaked information, not facing any type of consequences when he is out there actually propagating and putting the confidential information for the masses to consume? Nothing. Edward Snowden, you got to hide in Russia. Julian Assange, you got to hide in an embassy in Belize or wherever the fuck he is.
With an alleged
Mike Pompeo tried to kill him.
With a hit on you from the director of the CIA, allegedly.
It just all seems very
something suspect, dude. It's all sus.
And it feels like it's at this point where there's so many wins that the Trump administration has had that instead of focusing on any of the wins, let's highlight one of the errors, blow it up, and we'll spend 6 days covering it on the news until something else happens and we move on. But it looks like they're not going to move on this one.
I mean, you're right. I mean, if it was someone from the right leaked this information before an attack, he'd be in jail immediately. All right? Now, there's a lot of things to learn from this. And you can have the most secure system, all right? The NSA, the president, they have, private networks. They have special devices that have been rooted. They're encrypted at a base level. But if you enter with a wrong mindset, because I had to handle secrets, for a while. And the king is in-person meeting, all right? You never message something, like you just agree in code where you're going to meet. If you have to discuss something this delicate, you meet somewhere, no devices, no phones, only the people you want to hear this. You don't debrief with anyone. You share what you have to share, and then everyone goes their separate ways, all right? So even if they had a secure system, and I think a group message, doesn't matter if it's Signal, if it's WhatsApp, if it's anything, a group message is number 100 on places to discuss
like attacks and airstrikes,
and everything. So I think this is a learning opportunity. Good that they were successful because that's a big deal. The Suez Canal is making everything more expensive. Yep. It's a key trade route in global trade that you can't have guys bombing boats there. All right, and if you know anything about America, every time they touch one of our boats, we go to war.
Yep.
It happens in Pearl Harbor. It happens anywhere. You just touch one American boat. Touch a boat. Go ahead. Touch a boat. You can insult my mother. You can
poop
whatever.
in my mouth.
But touch an American.
Touch my boat.
Touch an American boat, and we're going to war. It's over. It's a wrap.
Yeah.
So I think this is a learning lesson. I'm glad they were able to go through with the operation.
Yeah.
But then again, he's on team left. He's on team himself. He's on team Atlantic. And he's not on Team America.
Well, we're not gonna trust me. We're not gonna get into it. They touched one boat. Somebody touched one boat, and we didn't go to war. I don't
wow.
Yeah, I don't want to talk about it. Go ahead.
But
the audience, if you guys know, you know. But I'm not gonna mention it.
You're treading dangerous waters.
Yeah. No pun intended.
No, but I'll tell you what my initial reaction when I first saw the story is that I thought it was interesting until I saw it was a story from The Atlantic, and then I thought it was fake.
Yeah.
Because The Atlantic, particularly Jeffrey Goldberg, but The Atlantic as an entire publication, just lies. You remember this? Jeffrey Goldberg was the guy who wrote the Losers and Suckers
which is
story.
Completely false.
Yeah. Where he said that during a trip to Europe, Trump had remarked to other people that, any American who died in World War II was a loser and a sucker, and he didn't want to go visit their graves. That was debunked by a bunch of people, including people who hate Trump. They're like, yeah, I was there. He never said that.
And they couldn't go after him for defamation?
No, apparently not, because The Atlantic cited anonymous sources.
You could do that all the day. You could do that all the time.
The fact that this same guy is now out saying this, my initial reaction was he's just lying.
Mm-hmm.
These are fake text messages. But then suddenly all the administration officials came out and confirmed it.
Yeah.
Which was where it gets a little bit hazy, because this is a huge misstep by the Trump officials. Like, some people,
if it's true,
some people accidentally, either whether they're drunk or not paying attention, they accidentally text their ex. These people accidentally texted the editor of one of the publications that hates them the most.
The enemy.
Like, this is an enemy of the people. You don't do that by accident.
Years.
And like that is a huge problem. And because I know there's some debate over whether these actually were classified war plans or not, but unfortunately, like that guy just said, it had the time and location of strikes. Like, this was, if not classified, at least very high level information that should not have been leaked to the press. And it seems like the only reason we didn't know about it before the strike happened is because Goldberg chose not to release it. So the fact that we're in a position now where we have to be like, oh, thank you, radical leftist journalists, for not leaking the timing of strikes to our enemies.
Yeah.
That's a problem. And obviously, any accusations of Pete Hegseth being drunk honestly aren't even relevant, because he's not the one who added Goldberg to the chat in the first place.
And people in recovery, that's a very shitty thing to say.
Yeah.
He's getting his life together. He's a wonderful guy. We met him.
Yeah.
These are the same people that deny that the cocaine that was found in the White House may or may not have been belonging to Hunter Biden's. And they're the same people that are out there talking about how great of a human being Hunter Biden is, despite all of the evidence on the laptops to prove the contrary. Yeah. So it's like when that guy had a substance abuse addiction, the entire left got behind him. Hey, we have to prop this guy up to support his sobriety. But then a guy from the right who has or may not have actually had substance abuse issues with alcohol, they hone in on that and use that against him as a weapon.
But like I said, this is a huge problem. And this should not have happened. Yep. I hope, like Humberto said, hopefully they use it as a learning experience, but there should be accountability. Heads should roll over it if this was classified information. But we also have to address the fact that, imagine this was the Biden administration. Imagine it went exactly the opposite, where members of Biden's war council leaked a group chat to someone from Fox News. We all know what would happen. The press would deny that it took place and deny that it was a big deal. Yep. The guy who leaked it would probably be facing criminal charges. Yep. And the rest of us would be sitting around having a field day with it, talking about how incompetent and evil the administration was. So we have to assess these things fairly, regardless of which side does it. We like the Trump administration,
But
we like what they're doing, but this was a problem.
These guys, I'm glad they're there. They're not incompetent and they're not evil.
Exactly.
Right? And they took ownership of their mistake. So it's a whole different ball game, you know?
Yeah, and if, mind you, if it was the left, because I'm going to move on to Humberto, if it was the left, Fox would have been like barking and yelling, and all the other mainstream media would have been like, it's not a big deal. Yeah. It's probably a setup. They were hacked. Anyway, moving on. Humberto, the German attack, yet another one. What the hell happened?
It keeps on happening, Vinny.
I know.
This is unbelievable.
No, it's isolated, they said. It's isolated incidents.
Look, and Kelly, I'm going to need to go fast through the things.
Go.
I brought a lot of them. All right. First of all, the guys from the Sun. What piece of shit? Are you reading the title? Car plows into crowd injuring 6. One fighting for their life after being crushed under vehicle in Germany.
I hate it when cars drive themselves into crowds.
A car plowed
by itself.
It's a
self-driving car.
What is this? How in what world do you write this headline? Cars, they don't drive themselves.
Yeah.
They do not. All right.
Unless it was a Tesla, but
they don't.
I don't know if they're there yet.
So this is from today. We don't have the details yet because it just happened last night.
Okay.
So this is March 26th.
Wait.
No, this was on Monday.
Okay, Monday. Go ahead.
No. Wait.
Don't say the date's just Monday.
Well, this was on the 26th. Yeah. All right. Then another one. This is within this year. Munich. This happened on February 13. You had 28 injured. All right.
28 injured.
28 injured. An Afghan asylum seeker allegedly drove a Mini Cooper into a crowd, injuring 26 people.
With a freaking Mini Cooper.
26 people.
Damn.
Another one, all right?
Auschwitz.
Yeah, that's in Bavaria, all right? Here, 2 killed. A 2-year-old boy and his mother, 41.
Jeez.
So what are we doing, all right? This is still 2025 and we're starting the year. Let's go to the next one, all right? This is from Magdeburg. And another one, all right? And here there were 5 kills, an 9-year-old boy and 4 women aged 45, 52, 67, and 75.
All Germany.
All Germany. Who are they hurting? A 9-year-old boy and
2-year-old stabbing with the mom.
What are we doing, all right? So this was Talib Al-Masuden drove a BMW into a crowded Christmas market.
What a traditional German name.
Have you ever been to Germany during the Christmas? It's the most wonderful thing. If anyone wants to get the true spirit of Christmas, I will highly recommend you go to a Christmas market in Germany. It's the most beautiful thing.
Just watch out for Muslims behind the wheel of cars.
Hot wine, great stuff. And then let's go to another one. All right. This was in Solingen, another 3 killed, 8 injured on a knife attack. All right, the left here, they goes we need to ban guns. You still have cars, you still have knives, and you
still have vials of acid, as it turns out, because that's a pretty common one.
Or
too.
Hammers or whatever you want to call it. You know, where there's a will, there's a way. Unfortunately, all right. And what do Germans do? This is going on at least 2 or 3 attacks a month. They are underreported, and they write stupid headlines that a car plowed into a crowd.
Yeah.
All right. So this is. Have you heard of all these attacks here? At least twice.
I've heard a couple of them. I didn't know that they're still going that much.
And how is this not a problem?
It is a problem.
Imagine whenever Europeans, they love going you Americans and your school shootings. All right, your school shootings this and your school shootings
a bunch of crowd plowings.
All right, and then you have all these crowd plowings and all these knives attacks. Remember the UK one?
Oh, of course, with the dance, they killed Taylor Swift.
3 little girls. 3 little girls.
And they tried to cover it up and act like they picked a photo of him like he was just a good old English boy. Turns out, what was his name?
Axel Rudacabana.
Rudacabana. And his father was a great role model who had to leave. Was it Uganda? Rwanda. I was close.
And then you covered this. What did they find?
Oh yeah, the guy who stabbed all the kids in Southport,
at the
Axel
Taylor Swift dance
he
thing?
had ricin and an Al-Qaeda training manual, and apparently had been planning on doing an attack at a mosque instead.
Yeah.
But it's this is how it always goes. Like you read the names of a few of the guys responsible for these truck attacks.
Yeah.
Every single one of them is a foreign-born Muslim who is allowed into Germany. Because if you remember, Germany was the first European country, or among the first, to throw open its gates to the Syrian refugees when the civil war first broke out there. And, you know, Bashar Assad was using illegal chemical weapons against his own people, a claim that nobody ever actually bothered to verify. They just told you it was true. And Germany said, no, please come in, flow out of Turkey into our country. We welcome you, tired, weary travelers.
That has a name and a last name. Angela Merkel destroyed Germany.
Wow.
She destroyed Germany. All right? So you think this is pretty bad. Imagine if this was happening here. All right? We had our own problems with the border. People were being killed by immigrants that came in. What was the name of they named an act after her.
Riley?
Laken Riley. All right, we have our own problems, murders and everything, and Americans reacted to it. They were like, "All right, we're over this. We don't want any more dead Americans." Mr. Trump, get in.
Yep.
We're closing the border. We're
shipping these freaking idiots away. Good.
We didn't cover this German election. It happened like a month or 2 months ago. What did they do? All right, if you can pull the chart up, the SPD is a center-right. Party. Then you have the CDU, center left. You have the Greens, that are nut jobs.
Oh, God.
And then the AfD, that even Elon Musk was on board with them because that was the only solution for Germany.
Mm-hmm.
The only guys that were willing to go against the EU, that is one of the most evil organizations. I think it might be worse than the UN.
Really?
Because they have more power. Because the laws for a fishing guy in Portugal, for a guy that lives in the Alps in Switzerland, for a guy that freaking, I don't know, drinks sangria and goes to a nudist beach in Spain, as they do, they're being made in Brussels, all right? Local laws are being made in Brussels. And if you see the rhetoric of presidents and prime minister of Europe, they no longer think about their countries, be Spain, be Portugal, be Germany, as a country. They think about the EU as a country, all right?
And their single unifying principle is that they hate their own countrymen.
That's what they do.
These are people, like you mentioned Angela Merkel, but look at any person who's leading one of these European countries. They hate their own countries. They hate the people who live there. They hate Europeans and actively want to see them replaced, murdered, wiped out, and driven out of their homeland, because they have ascribed to the idea that because Europe once engaged in global colonization, they must now welcome the world into Europe as penance for something done hundreds of years ago. Yeah. And that's how you know that they are evil. There is no other word for that. If you look at what happens in Germany, and then you see the government say, it's not that big a deal, these are isolated incidents, we're not changing our immigration policies.
Yeah, happening how many times
There's no other word but evil for that.
And that's what I'm getting at. Once, the AfD got 20%, which is very good. They won, 10% over the last election. The center-right party that should get together with AfD, they form a coalition with the left. Instead of going right with the party that got the most seats, they formed a coalition. They called it the Great Coalition to block the AfD from doing anything about immigration, anything about their country. So now they're completely blocked off, even though they gain a lot of seats. And I brought another chart, if we can go to the next one. This is really funny. I don't know if any of your students of history, what does it look like? The blue is where the AfD won the most in Germany.
Wasn't that basically the breakup of the partition of where the Berlin Wall and
right on the
breakup
money
after World War II?
That is East Germany, all right?
On the right, obviously.
On the right. Why? Because they know what socialism is.
Uh-huh.
They know what communism is. They suffer through it, and they're over it, all right?
Wow.
And it's clear. It's literally, you could build a Berlin Wall.
Yeah, look at that little blue one on the left, though. That little guy's.
And this might, I don't know. This might be a little more personal, but I think every culture is worth preserving. It doesn't matter if it's in Africa, if it's China, if it's Germany, if it's England. If it's Australian culture, even Australian culture, right?
We're somewhat of culture.
What about Norwegian culture?
Except that one. Norway should be sank to the bottom of the ocean. All right.
So funny.
So, like, I'm gonna get a little bit nostalgic, and I want to show you some pictures. You know, about how beautiful it is. Kelly. Well.
How beautiful it is.
I'm so nostalgic. For
What the hell is that?
I forgot this.
Wait.
That's a really bad segue.
Adolf Hitler.
That's funny.
Well, this is the people that the Germans complain. Feminists in Germany, they thought it was a really good idea to get their boobs out and dress like Hitler to protest the AfD. By the way, the AfD has people from all walks in the world. They have Indian people, they have Jewish people, they have German people. The leader of the AfD, she's a lesbian.
Oh, really?
All right. So they're not racist or homophobic or anything. They just want Germany for Germans. That's all they want.
That's fine.
All right. Let's go to the next one. All right.
I love that.
You see this?
Mind you, National Lampoon's Your European Vacation.
When you think of this, you think what? You think of.
I'm happy. I'm thinking about fun. That movie, we saw breasts for the first time when I was a kid in that movie because she's.
All right.
She flashes rusty, and I was like,
what do you think of this?
Oh, are you freaking kidding me, bro?
It looks like a postcard.
I want to get married.
Kelly,
there.
go to the next one. Look at that.
I love it.
All right.
I smell what I know. I can
now show the migrants. Oh no!
Oh, there they go.
Now, Kelly, go back to the first one. I tricked all of you. None of these places are in Germany.
What the hell, you trickster?
None of these places are in Germany.
Is that Japan?
This first picture is in Brazil. All right.
Wow.
That's what German immigrants built in Brazil. The second picture, that's Chile. That's a German town built by the Germans in Chile. And then we go to the last one, and that's Argentina. That's Bariloche. That's another German town built in South America. All right?
Wow.
And
Argentina gets snow?
Yeah, they do. Chile as well.
That sounds so ignorant, but I had no idea that it snowed in Argentina.
Rob's like, we landed on the moon.
And the thing is, I don't want to bring just problems. I want to bring solutions. If we go to the last picture, I can show you how my family,
Oh, that's your family?
Not exactly, but.
I was like, oh my God, Humberto, that's so sweet. You're like,
you get the idea,
That's
right? That's how they came in to the South American countries. Connor, I'm telling you, my granddad from one side of the German family, he landed in Argentina, and he crossed the Andes Mountains in a donkey with his wife in the back. All right.
Gangster.
What year did he do that?
We don't talk about years here.
I'm just trying to establish a timeline of how Germans ended up in South America.
I have no.
Were you the good ones or the bad ones?
I have no clue, no idea. All right, but that's what they came into. Important. All right, they were given land to make a better place. All right, they came in with $0, 0 tools, 0 anything, and they built cities. All right, and culture all over South America. I think the solution here. And they make it extremely difficult. There's over 2 million Germans, like German descendants in Brazil. There's another 500,000 in Chile. There's another 1 million in Argentina that are like pure German, they speak German, everything. Why don't you bring those people back to rebuild your country? We can go to the last slide.
If I was you, I would have totally lied about that. That's my great uncle. But anyway, go ahead.
If we go to the last one, that's German descendants around the world. And if you look at the country,
The red is the descendant?
Yeah.
Damn. It's a lot of Germans, dude.
There's a lot of Germans. I think there's over like.
Look at Africa. How many Germans are in Africa? No, I'm sorry. South America?
South America,
Canada?
South Africa.
But I mean, Australia was colonized from European convicts, so it's not surprising.
What's on the bottom? What's all the way in the bottom of Africa? Why is there so many
South
Germans?
Africa.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. Why is there so many Germans in South Africa right in that one condensed spot?
Because a lot of them came to South Africa.
Oh.
There was gold mines and a bunch
That's
of
Seychelles, South Africa on the right, by the way. That little piece that's hanging off on the right. I've been there. Anyway, go ahead.
Good call.
Thank you.
So I think the solution for Germany to bring the people that build colonies outside to come back and make it easy from them, because they need more population. They need to grow. Why don't you bring Germans back in?
I like that, but and then really fast, 'cause I want to go to Rob. No, I'm sorry. Who's next? Amy, RFK. But how do you fix? I mean, I know we always say that they're cooked. Europe is cooked. I mean, England, all these freaking. How's Russia's? I mean, Germany's not going to be able to fix this. Like this problem with people and these cars and the culture and driving into people, especially when the leadership's like, nah, it's not a big deal. They're in bad shape, bro. Europe in general, until they have the balls to look in the camera and tell the people, hey, listen, these radical groups are not going to stop. You could take away anything. Evil will find a way, bro. Evil always finds a way to do what they want to do. And until you address the root of the problem, little kids are going to keep getting stabbed. Crowds, you're not going to, and this is what I think that's the goal, bro, to instill fear in people. Because you can't go into a crowd. Like, unless you put on those barricades with those things that stop vehicles, you're screwed. I wouldn't want to go anywhere. And that's
Even
the goal.
when they have those, they happen to be down for maintenance.
Yeah,
like what happened in New Orleans.
Yeah, weird. So,
like Germany, I think is lost forever.
I was gonna say
the rest of Europe has various ways of fixing this. There will never be a strong enough nationalist movement in Germany to revive it. Because the last 2 times the Germans were nationalists, they went to war with the entire world. And the post-war consensus will never allow them to live it down.
Yep.
You want to talk about how do you fix all the problems in German culture? How do you reestablish it as a powerful, cohesive nation with a strong identity? There was a guy who tried to do that at one point, and look how that worked out. His legacy is not really looked on favorably. Not that it should be. I'm just saying this is what is called to mind every time Germany tries to have anything resembling that. The AfD that Humberto pointed out is full of people of every race and gender and background imaginable. They just want a cohesive identity for their country. They want Germany for Germans. They popularized that song, what is it? Ausländer raus, which is outsiders out. They chant it in bars of like, get rid of all the non-Germans. They are smeared as Nazis.
Isn't it?
Because that's the only image that is called to mind anytime a German tries to prioritize their own country.
And they did the whole thing. They tried to put them through trial. They tried to put them in jail. They tried to defund them. You know how they do.
Well, I mean, the one guy with the funny mustache kind of effed it up for everybody else. Like trying to exterminate an entire race and thinking that your race is the most dominant. It's like, and by the way, and that just comes with the freaking territory. You know what I mean? It has to be, it's going to be very, very tricky, but whoever's going to try to lead that movement of like, hey guys, here's the freaking problem. This is how we have to fix it. And I'm sorry, until you stop letting people in that are trying to change the whole freaking makeup of the country, and you're right, bro. I think it's cooked, and I'm sorry, I think something crazy radical happens, it ain't gonna change. Anyway, Amy, RFK, Big Pharma, ads, what the hell is going on, and what did he say?
Yeah, so we're going to get into what he said or didn't say, but everyone this week has been talking about RFK banning Big Pharma ads. As we all know, the United States is one of the only 2 countries in the entire world who are able to legally advertise on TV. And I remember when I first came to the United States, I was visiting, it was back in 2014, and I remember hearing one of these ads for the first time, and I literally thought it was parody. Like, the concept is so insane. Like, these people, like, frolicking in fields or throwing a football while you're hearing about bleeding from the ears and, like, seizures and, and cannibalism.
Yeah.
No, just kidding.
Yeah.
But it's just, it's absolutely insane.
That is so funny. Like, whenever I got exposed to one of them, I thought it was a joke, too.
Yeah, I literally
Never seen
thought
anything like
that it was parody. I didn't.
They have a great time, but they're dying.
Yeah,
very fast.
Ask your doctor.
Yeah.
So there's obviously many great reasons why this should happen and many positive effects. But for me, as I started looking into the story and started looking for more evidence as to, you know, are we actually going to ban Big Pharma from advertising, I was honestly a little bit disappointed. So let's go ahead and pull up the first asset, which is actually an article with a spokesperson from the HHS who actually debunked this claim. So essentially what it says here is, if you believed everything you read on social media, you'd think HHS Secretary Robert F. Kennedy had issued a sweeping proclamation Monday morning to ban prescription drugs on TV. That was the chatter on social media platform X from various different accounts. I mean, I saw who's the health guy who came on PBD? Paul Saladino posted about it.
He was great.
Yeah, I saw a bunch of people posting about it as if it was absolute truth. But then the spokesperson Andrew Nixon from HHS came out and he said the social chatter you're hearing is not accurate. Now he hasn't made official plans to actually roll this out. However, we did see that during his campaign trail when he was running for president, this is something that he spoke about, which is why it was probably so believable this week and why everyone kept regurgitating this talking point. But could we please go ahead and play the next video here? This is RFK saying... no, this is when he was on the campaign trail.
This is campaign trail RFK.
So this is him saying that if he was to become president, day one, he would issue an executive order to make this happen.
If the first day in office, I'm going to issue an executive order banning pharmaceutical advertising on television. All of you can see that particularly the evening news shows are just bracketed one after the other by pharmaceutical ads. And so, you know, you look at somebody like Anderson Cooper. I think Anderson Cooper makes about $20 million, you know, give or take. If you say he's got a $20 million salary, and 75% of that or 80% of that is coming from the pharmaceutical companies, that's who his real boss is. You know, a lot of the newscasters are directly interested in making sure those pharmaceutical revenues are going to continue, and I'm going to end them. We're one of only 2 countries in the world that allow pharmaceutical companies to advertise directly to consumers. Everybody agrees it's a bad idea. Everybody. And as a result of that, we are the biggest consumers of pharmaceutical products in the world, and they're not making us healthier. In a true free market, and if we were getting good information, we wouldn't be taking so many of them. And the job of these news organizations is to make sure that we don't have that information. Really, what they're doing is they're purchasing the power to
Thank you. So, I mean, this really hits hard for me. I still look back as the COVID era as one of the most like collectively traumatic experiences for humanity in general. And it's literally because of this funding and the way that this is pushed and propagandized in news and media that you couldn't speak out about COVID without being deplatformed because of all the money that Pfizer was paying to all of these companies.
That makes it extremely funny, right? Because the everyone was like, oh, you guys don't know anything. Trust the expert. Check with your doctor.
Don't do your own research.
Don't do your own research. And so in one side, when it's good for them, like nobody knows anything about their health.
Yeah.
All right. But now they're desperate to advertise so you can check your own medicine with your doctor.
Of course.
Like it's just so
It's
rich.
ridiculous.
Yeah. So what speaks to that even further is actually this study that came out. This came out from AHAIP, which stands for America's Health Insurance Plan. So they're a national trade organization that represent health insurance providers. And so essentially they examined 10 of the largest pharmaceutical companies out there and the revenue that they generated in 2020 using their own financial reports of all of these various companies. And what they found is that 7 out of the 10 major pharmaceutical companies actually spent more on marketing and advertising, putting these things on, you know, news segments and various other things than they did an actual research and development for the drugs in the first place.
Just pitching it. The hell with what's in it. Just come on, baby.
Absolutely insane. So specifically, AbbVie, which manufactures branded drugs like Humira, spent $11 billion on sales and marketing compared to the $8 billion on R&D. Bayer, which manufactures branded drugs like XARELTO. I don't know how to pronounce that.
Xarelto.
There we go.
Clearly, you don't watch enough pharma commercials because I recognize all of these names.
I don't watch TV. So they spent $18 billion on sales and marketing compared to the $8 billion on R&D. And then finally, Johnson & Johnson, which manufactures these drugs, spent $22 billion on sales and marketing compared to only $12 billion in research and
given that they made the worst COVID vaccine, they had to spend a lot on marketing to stay competitive.
Oh, what do you mean with Stephen Colbert doing that freaking dance? Or what was that loser, de Blasio from New York, going, what'd you say? you can get this cheeseburger and these fries by putting this experimental poison in your body. Yeah,
They're giving out free pizza, burgers, and donuts
They literally
for a
gave-
disease that made fat people more susceptible to
They
it.
had a lottery where you could win $1 million.
To get
all you had to do was, couldn't that money have been used for anything better than what it was used for?
You think?
Like developing a vaccine that doesn't kill people.
Why does an allegedly life-saving vaccine need this much marketing? Like,
tell
I
me,
don't know.
what do you think?
Like, I don't know.
It's the same
I
reason
don't
why
know.
the guy that was technically allegedly behind it needed a pre-pardon from the incoming president because they knew what the hell this guy did. Same question, same reason.
Weird.
Rachel Zegler, weird.
Weird. So this would obviously be, if they ban advertising for Big Pharma, this would be amazing for this reason. Doctors would really be able to go back to prescribing things based on their actual medical expertise, not because their pockets were being lined from these companies, right? But the other thing, which I think is also really important, is it could be one of the final blows to mainstream media as well. And to highlight this best, we're actually going to play a clip of Patrick talking about this a couple of
this
years
went viral.
ago. Yeah, but so since this story came out this week, this old clip of Pat has been going viral. So we're going to watch it now because I think it paints a very excellent point here.
All right, let's go to the clip. This is
So you know
him.
who the third one is that's keeping cable in business?
Pharma.
Pharma. Do you know what percentage of every dollar on sponsorship and ads cable TV gets from pharma? What percentage is from pharma? Percentage. For every dollar, percentage. So think about movie commercials, car commercials, clothing commercials, all these different companies that do commercials, so many industries
Something
that do
ridiculous like 70%.
It's 75%. You're right. 75%. So check this out. Watch how crazy this is. Okay.
How is that even legal to do that?
Can you, while I'm doing this, just on your phone, Google what percentage of pharma cable advertisement? It's going to come up saying 75%. Now watch this. 75%, right? Stay with me here. So now we have to answer the question, is it moral to advertise getting more people taking drugs? Okay. What's wrong with that? It's their choice. They got to do it. No problem. So then why is it out of nearly 200 countries in the world, only 2 of them allow pharmaceutical companies to advertise on TV and the other 198 don't? Who are the 2 countries? U.S. and New Zealand. Why? Wait. I don't know. You mean to tell me Germany doesn't allow? Nope. You mean to tell me China, Japan? Nope. Not even Venezuela? No.
Damn, that's
Canada?
crazy.
No. Only 2 countries. Yes. Why? I don't get it. Because they allow it. 75%.
That is insane. Think about that, guys. I mean, Vinny, maybe you could speak to that a little bit more. Like, think about the insane salaries that some of these anchors are getting paid. Who is it? Is it Rachel?
Rachel Maddow was getting $25 million.
Rob brought it up on his segment.
Yeah.
Like, he was like, why is she still there? I was like, because she hasn't worked for MSNBC. She works
once
for
a week.
Pfizer.
Yeah.
That's her job.
Imagine, take away that funding. What do you guys think their salaries would
What do
actually
you mean? It
look
goes
like?
by. And dude, just like, well, think about the height of it, right? With COVID and Chris Cuomo and all these guys. That's my question that I want to ask you guys. So they all were in on it. They all knew. They all from the head down, right? Kind of
They're
the boss
still
got to
on
tell
it.
you, Mark Zucker. It all goes down. Yeah. And my thing is, did they know, Robbie, that they were told, like, hey, listen, you are going to pitch this and you're going to promote it, not just the commercials. You're going to be the guy opening your mouth every single day. You're going to be looking inside the camera and going, what? How dare you? You're the enemy if you don't take it. Remember that thing that Cuomo did? Where Cuomo was like, he goes, you know who's the biggest with terrorists? You know what the biggest thing is? Your fellow American for not taking the jab. So it was him. You're being the enemy. How dare you? And then he gets injured from this virus, long COVID, whatever.
Long COVID.
Yeah. All that, whatever. So my thing is, do they have to say it? Or you lose your job? Like, if you have a conscience, because, Amy, if Big Pharma leaves, I mean, they're already on their way out. CNN is gone. MSNBC, gone. All of them are gone. How far, by the way, he should worry about his life, number one, because remember the movie I told you about, Michael Caine? You mess with anything pharmaceuticals or money or anything like that?
RFK, you mean, specifically?
RFK, when you're messing with $1 trillion, this isn't just a couple of billion. We're talking about Pfizer. How much money, can you look this up? How much money did the vaccines in all of them make? It had to be $1 trillion. How much did Johnson & Johnson, Pfizer, Moderna, there's so many other ones, Rob, that were making it. It has to be a lot.
Well, they were giving them out for free. So it was government money they were being paid with.
We paid for it.
And that's part of where this gets so messy, because it's the convergence of media, big pharma, and government, where all of them have a vested financial interest in the same things. So take a step back from the vaccine issue, because the COVID vax is what exposed all of this. But this has been going on for far longer than that. Like it's something as simple as, you run ads for just over-the-counter painkiller, essentially Tylenol. You run ads for that between segments on your network. The anchor doesn't have to do anything, because the network is getting paid for that, which lets them have bigger salaries for the anchors. But where that gets to be such a problem is when it begins to take away from their ability to report openly and fairly, because
you have a master.
Then again, that's why the vax issue was such a big deal, because there were reports emerging of complications, skipped steps during the research and development, potentially hazardous side effects, and nobody was allowed to report on it because the hooks had been in there for so long. It was, we've just been running, basic over-the-counter pill commercials between our segments for 20, 30 years.
Well, what's the difference?
Look, what's the difference? But suddenly, people who should have been doing their journalistic due diligence and reporting on these concerns were told, don't do it. And their multi-million-dollar salaries were threatened.
This seems really high, Vinny.
It seems really high.
$700 billion, almost $1 trillion.
That's insane.
So that's a guesstimate of how much money they spent, how much money they made.
They don't have enough data, but
they don't have enough data.
It is an estimate from like 2021 till now.
I would round up.
Well, you said protect RFK. Make sure nothing happens to him. Maybe this is why he hasn't officially made the announcement yet. So what actually happened, and where I believe a lot of this rhetoric started this week, why everyone was posting about it, was actually due to two of RFK's parody accounts. And if we could quickly pull those up before moving on, please, Kelly. So on the 22nd and the 23rd, two different accounts, both of them in the bio say this does not belong to RFK, this is a parody. Both of these accounts posted about banning any Big Pharma ads. And then from there, you saw everybody sharing them like wildfire. So it could be the fact that, maybe these parody accounts have started a much needed conversation. I don't know why RFK hasn't already initiated this by himself when he said he would, when he was running for president, when he joined Trump's campaign. He also said that it was something he was still interested in pursuing. So hopefully these parody accounts mixed in with all of the support from the internet and the conversations people are now subsequently having about it, hopefully it pushes the real RFK to actually take the first steps to do something about this. Because
let me save you a heartache. It will never happen.
I was going to say.
It will never happen.
$700 billion for one drug.
Money's being spread to politicians, media
lobbyists,
here,
people are lobbying.
This will never happen. And another thing, his performance hasn't been very good.
I haven't.
Everyone is moving at light speed. We're getting immigrants out. We're getting everything sorted.
The border,
taxes, borders, Dodge. Everyone's moving at light speed. And my Democrat friend, he's kind of slow. Like, can you just ban Red 40?
I thought he was. What happened?
Can we ban that just to start?
Well, you know what? They did declare a public health emergency. The one thing they moved fast on. Anti-Semitism is now a public health emergency, according to RFK.
No.
I don't know if you caught
said
that. A couple weeks ago, they declared that it is actually a public health crisis. That's a fact. There's anti-Semitism going on.
Insane.
So our priorities are definitely in line here.
Yeah. I would just ban one thing.
Ban one thing.
Ban one thing. Sucrose.
Gavin Newsom has banned more harmful food additives than RFK has.
That's unbelievable.
Oh, wow.
He needs to step it up. All right, Amy, great freaking story. Connor. CIA Ark of the Covenant. I saw an X post about it, and it said I saw leaked documents about something like that. Actually, what is the Ark of the Covenant?
So, yeah, we're gonna get into all this. This is either huge breaking news that could revolutionize how we view the world and ancient history and religion, or it's a steaming pile of crap thrown out by the intelligence apparatus as a distraction. I'll allow you guys to give your input on that. But Vinny, to answer your question, the Ark of the Covenant was a sacred vessel created by the ancient Israelites right after they left Egypt. According to scripture, it was a large box made of acacia wood coated in gold. I mean, if you've seen Indiana Jones, that's pretty much what it was. It was a box made to hold the 10 Commandments and a few other sacred items. And the point of the Ark was that it was carried around with the Israelite people as they traveled. It was set up in their tabernacle. Eventually, when they built the temple, it lived there permanently. And it was supposed to be the symbol of God's presence on earth.
Wow.
There's the cherubs made out of gold on the lid of it. Between their wings, I don't know if we have a picture of it we can throw up.
I think the first one was to be like on the.
But the wings of the cherubs were supposed to touch in the middle. That spot is where God's presence was supposed to come from when he communicated with the people. Only high priests on very certain occasions would even be allowed to witness it. Basically, anybody who went into the room who was unclean or had unconfessed, unsacrificed sins would be struck down dead instantly.
I would definitely die outside that tent.
There's a story in the Bible about just that there are people trying to move it from one place to another after it's been captured by enemies. They're bringing it back in a cart. The cart hits a bump. It's about to fall off. One guy reaches out and puts his hand on it to stop it and dies instantly.
Jeez.
Because the point was, it's not about your intention. Like, this is the presence of God. It is sacred. And of course, anybody who would roll their eyes at stories about God and faith is going to think I'm a lunatic for believing that this is a real thing. But whatever, I'll let you
take it.
Cringe internet atheists continue to be cringe.
Well, just to go on your point, when they were shooting Passion of the Christ, not to be that guy, and these are facts, while Jim Caviezel was on the cross, lightning struck, clouds came up, and everybody fell to the ground. And
Are
was
you
like,
serious?
"Oh,
I didn't know
wasn't
that.
he struck by
Wow.
lightning like 3 times?
Oh
while
yeah,
he was
he
doing
was
it?
struck by like. Rob, can you look that up? I'm positive. I don't know how many times it happened, but that's God going, yo, guys.
I also heard this story.
That's pretty wild.
Yes, actor Jim Caviezel, who played Jesus in The Passion of the Christ, was struck by lightning during filming, specifically during the sermon scene on. the Sermon on the Mount scene.
Wow. Okay, go ahead. So just to say, you want to talk about touching the Ark? If the Ark of the Covenant's real, it wouldn't surprise me.
Yes. So, like I said, Indiana Jones and the Raiders of the Lost Ark did a pretty good job communicating how it works, including the scene where they go to take the lid off and everybody dies.
People melt all the Germans' faces.
That's not in scripture, but like the mass death of people who disrespect it definitely was. But it disappeared around 586 BC. The last known recorded instance of it being present in the temple was right after the Babylonians sacked Jerusalem. And they looted the temple, and the Ark disappeared from history. Nobody knows what happened to it. There's various different records. It might be buried under a church in Ethiopia. The priests might have hidden it. The Babylonians might have taken it and melted it down. Nobody really knows. And it's been one of those things. It's like one of the most cherished, sought-after archaeological discoveries. If you can find this, verify it exists, find out the details of it, it would be monumental. Well, according to some reports that just came out, the CIA found it in 1988 using remote viewing. And I don't know if you guys are familiar with remote viewing.
Men who stare at goats.
Operation Stargate?
Yes.
Whoa,
you guys are on the right
Amy.
track. And honestly, I wish Brandon was here too, because he is like our remote viewing expert and believes in psychics and all that.
Telekinesis and all that
So people
stuff.
who are skeptical
That's
of it.
what he does in the couch for hours.
Uh-huh.
He's remote viewing.
But
He's probably using the remote to view
I come from
porn.
a place of extreme skepticism when it comes to things like remote viewing and psychic abilities. I think most of it's a waste of time, and the part that isn't is stuff you absolutely should not be messing with. But the CIA has invested so much time and money in remote viewing psychic research, psychic warfare, that you can't discredit it permanently. So I have the document here. It was part of a disclosure released in the experiment was conducted in 1988. This was made public in 2000, where they guided a subject 32, according to the documents, if we can throw this up. The subject 32 was guided through remote viewing looking for an object. And how this worked is they wrote down an object in an envelope. The person did not see it. They were put into like some sort of hypnotized meditative state, asked to locate where the object was and identify what it was. And some of what they came up with was very fascinating. If we go to the next slide, one of the things they said, target is a container. This container has another container inside of it. The target is fashioned of wood, gold, and silver, similar in shape to a coffin, and it's decorated with seraphim. Goes on to, the target is hidden, underground, dark, and wet, were all aspects of the location where it is. The purpose of the target is to bring a people together. It has something to do with ceremony, memory, the resurrection. And then, this is where it gets very fascinating. The target is protected by entities and can only be opened by those who are authorized to do so.
Jeez.
This container cannot be opened until the time is deemed correct. Once it is time to open the container, the mechanics and the lock system will be found to be fairly simple. And it talks about how the entities guarding this thing will strike down anybody who attempts to open it, and it will not be revealed until a select time. These are some of the sketches of what was doodled by the subject as they were in this state. There's mummies, there's the domes of mosques, there's seraphim and these weird winged creatures flying around. So my question to you guys is, do you think this is garbage? Like, do you have any reason to believe this is true? Because, like I said, this was declassified in 2000 and went unreported until this week. And now it's all over social media. So what do you guys think?
For the Ark, specifically,
yes.
Sorry, what's the correct term for it?
The Ark of the Covenant. The
Ark
yeah.
of the Covenant. I'm not sure about that specifically, but I, follow the money. I completely agree. If the CIA and government entities are spending such a ridiculous sum of money to test the legitimacy of these things, there has to be something there. I have recently become absolutely obsessed with the telepathy tapes, and I definitely had an air of skepticism about me as I was going through them, but they've conducted very similar experiments with these kids where they will draw something or they'll use a random number generator, sometimes up to 8 digits in total. They'll draw pictures, they'll come up with words or phrases, and these kids are able to determine exactly what is in the person's head. And they set up tests to ensure that there is absolutely no way they could cheat, that the parents are giving them the answer. And what's interesting is this is mostly prevalent in non-verbal kids. And they say that some of these kids aren't even aware of the fact that they have a body. Like, as they learn to communicate and as they learn to type or use facilitated communication, they express that they're not even aware that they have a body. I think that potentially all of us have these psychic powers, but we are so wrapped up with the physical and the day-to-day life and our 5 senses and the materialistic paradigm that we've become out of touch with it. But we've all had the experience where, like, you're thinking of somebody and then all of a sudden they call you. Like, just literally the other day, I texted my friend, "What you up to?" And he was like, "Okay, that is so weird. I literally had the exact phrase, 'What you up to?' and went to grab my phone to text you that and saw that you just texted me that." So I think these things happen all the time. I think that it's totally possible. It certainly makes sense that the CIA would spend the money that they've spent to see if it's real. And if it is, then I'm sure they've used it for things such as this, such as the Ark of the Covenant.
What do you think, Bert?
Oh,
I'm
man.
you, Rob.
When was the last time you've been to New York Deli?
I mean, I've only been to New York once. But
all right. Because I'm gonna give you my order right now because it's grade A bologna. It's the worst. Like, what are you saying? First of all, as a proud Christian, as a Christian, because pride is a sin.
Pride comes before the fall.
But I'm telling you, Jesus is a covenant. We all know this, all right? This box has no relevance. And if they had the box physically, okay, whatever, But they had a guy, and especially 32. What a fucking stupid number! Like, make him like a better number,
Who, 32?
Because he was subject 32, like a stupid number.
Oh, okay.
And then how do you know he wasn't influenced before to find it? All right, because I heard the stories. Everyone watched Indiana Jones, like unless they have the physical thing. And I see it striking down, people will enjoy that a lot.
Well, wait, Rob, because you have your computer, can you Google what year Raiders of the Lost Ark came out?
Yeah, and while that's a good question. It has to be the
81.
80s.
Okay, so that came out in 81. This test that was part of Project Sunstreak, I'm trying to see when it was actually fully conducted. Okay, remote viewing session, December 5th, 1988. So it was 7 years after
7 years
Raiders.
later. But so because listen, these are the fantastical things that people like. Sometimes people want to believe, like dude, if there's something that is connected to God, like the shroud of Jesus where he was buried and all that stuff, it's people, especially Christians that are believers. Me personally, I don't need any proof. I know, and everybody knows. It's every Muslims wrote about it, but everybody knows Jesus Christ was here. You can't. That's fact. Who he was. You could take your own belief. Some people say prophet or whatever. I know in my heart of hearts because I have faith who he was. But people want to believe, bro. Can you imagine if there's something here? Because it says it in Acts, Numbers, and in 1 Kings. It's a wooden chest overlaid with the gold, and it's built at God's command to hold sacred items. And what's in it are the stone tablets, like you said, the 10 Commandments given to Moses at Sinai, Aaron's rod that budded, a sign of God choosing Aaron as a high priest, and then a golden jar of manna, which is miraculous bread God provided in the wilderness. Like if that is around, and it has these powers, bro. Imagine somebody that does have it. If it is around,
but Vinny, if you read the New Testament, Jesus becomes the covenant.
I was gonna touch on this to share the Christian perspective. Humberto's Catholic, I'm a Protestant, but we're in agreement on this, that if the Ark of the Covenant does still exist, who's to say where it could be, but every purpose that it provided has been fulfilled in the person of Jesus Christ. Because now there is no longer a box in a temple you can't go into that is symbolic of the presence of God, but rather the accessible person of Christ who is with every one of us who accepts him as the presence of God. What is inside the Ark of the Covenant? It's the 10 Commandments. Well, Christ fulfilled the law. That's where they got the basis of the law from. What was the staff of Aaron? That was how they selected him as the high priest. Well, in the New Testament, it describes how Christians are part of a royal priesthood, who are now the people who serve God directly. What else was in there? A jar of manna, that was the bread that rained down from heaven that kept the Israelites alive while they were in the wilderness. Well, what is Christ? The bread of life. All of these things are symbolically fulfilled in him, which is why we believe the Bible, Old and New Testament, are in harmony together because one is fulfilled in the other. But So any search for this thing based on, it might be powerful enough to be used as a weapon, it's unclear. But why the CIA has such interest in finding it?
Because maybe it does wield power. Rob, what were you gonna say?
No, I think it's fascinating. I keep looking into astral projection, and it's so funny. They go, there's no scientific evidence that it exists or it's real. But at this point, and we talked about this on the podcast on Wednesday's show, does anybody at this point even trust the scientific community? So at this point, it's like, no, I believe in as much of astral projection as I do the scientific community. It's all hogwash, and I believe in what I experience. It'd be cool to be able to experience astral projection and actually be trained to do that. But
talk to Tony. I'm sure he has a crystal for it.
Well, it happens to some people on accident, like people who've been through like extreme like emotional trauma. Like sometimes they've reported it and they're like freaking out because they're not doing it on purpose. They're like, whoa, like what? I'm literally flying out of my body and I turn around and I can see my body there. I don't know how much I believe all of it, but these people sound pretty convincing when they're giving their accounts.
But yeah, for this thing, like Joey Diaz said, pick a fucking flag. You either believe there is a golden box, or you believe in Jesus. That's what it is.
Or do you trust the scientific establishment, or do you trust the CIA?
So wait a minute. So the box, the 10 commandments, let's just say the physical 10 commandments can't be in a box somewhere that somebody's been holding from us because let's say these people are anti-Christian. They don't want no proof. They don't want nothing. They want people to be as much mystery around Jesus and Christianity for people to be like, nah, well, show me the 10 commandments. If they're there, where are they? Where's it? Listen, we'll never, ever know until we're done and everything is said and done. So we're going to find out the truth. But
we will know.
I think we will know at one point. But anyway.
It just goes back and takes us away.
Listen, Jesus, I don't need the box. I don't. It'd be cool if it's there, I want to see it, but I don't need it. Anyway, guys, great show, all of you. Rob, thank you for letting me touch your leg.
You're welcome. And, thank you for fingering my hole.
I
have a hole in my pants. I have a hole in my pants, and Vinny has been playing with it the whole show. Kelly, God, you're
Kelly
gross.
is such a. Ugh.
We have fun here.
Why would you go there, Kelly? There's a lady here.
You can see the behind the scenes of the whole on Manek Circles for Unusual Suspects.
On Manek Circles. And I almost forgot. Guys, Suits and Sinners is coming out Monday at 4 p.m. Kelly, if you guys been following as the audience, the AI whistleblower, Suchir Balaji, was that it?
Yep.
Suchir Balaji, he's a whistleblower that there's been a lot of questions around his death. You know, they ruled it a suicide, the mother and father. You know, they believe that he was, you know, murdered. Humberto, we'll get into your ideas later. Humberto has his theories. Everybody has their theories. But Kelly sat down with them. Very interesting conversation. It comes out on Monday at 4 p.m. Make sure you guys
we should
please
talk about it on Wednesday after it premieres.
We will.
I would love that.
That'd be great, right, Kelly?
Well,
That'd be great.
1,000%.
I have my theories.
But Amy, Humberto,
Manek.
Connor,
I
guys,
put my prices down.
get on, guys. If you haven't downloaded Manek, trust me, do yourself a favor. Has your Manek been going crazy?
I just scheduled an hour session tomorrow with a guy who's going to tell me why we don't need to pay taxes.
Oh!
I know you talked to him too.
Let's try to get him on the podcast.
I think I
Okay,
will.
all right. So that's I don't Paymon. Paymon is his name. Paymon, our friend, Persian Jewish guy, who's like, I haven't paid my federal income tax, and I'll show you how. And I was like, I don't want to go to jail. Like I'm doing good. And look, guys, this is my new Iron Maiden shirt. I gave Jake one too. This is from my boy Bradley, and
that's from Fear of the
Lottery Shop.
Dark.
The
Great
Lottery
album.
Shop one.
Have you ever been
Instagram
alone
is
at night?
his thing. Go check him out. And guys, take care of each other. Have a fantastic weekend. We love you guys to death, and we'll see you later. Peace and love.